All right, everybody, I want to tell you about one of my first really interesting experiences doing an exam in nuclear medicine. Now, this was at my first job, and I was probably right out of school. I think this is the job I had right after school. And it was really interesting. So I was on call. I think it was probably the second time I got called in. And the hospital I was working at was pretty much the only hospital in the area. So we ended up getting a lot of call, and the hospital was fairly big too. I think it had at least 200 beds. It was a regional hospital. And so as I'm working this, I got called in to do a lung scan. So for all of you out there, a lung scan is looking for a blood clot in the lungs, something that Derek Thomas from the Kansas City Chiefs died from. He was an athlete that really brought attention. His death brought attention to how devastating pulmonary embolisms could be. The way that we do look at pulmonary embolisms in nuclear medicine is we do a two-part scan. It's called a VQ scan. It's a ventilation quantification scan. So there's two parts. The first part, we do what we call a ventilation. So we give a person either a radioactive gas, as in xenon, but most people do, and what we did was aerosol, Tech 99, DTPA. We use that as an aerosol. We don't give you very much, like two millicuries. So millicurie, again, is just that unit of measure that we do. And then we take a set of pictures. We do, let's see, 1, 2, 3. I think we did 6 to 8 pictures, if I remember correctly. And then we would give you a perfusion of Tech 99M MAA, which are actually really small circle, or not cubes, like droplets. And so what those do is they get wedged in the lung. They don't cause any blood clots or anything like that, but what it does allows us to see how the blood is getting into the lung, how the lung is perfusing blood. So I've done a number of these beforehand, and so doing one on call isn't any really big of a deal. So I need one thing before we get started, though, is, again, when we were doing this particular exam changed the way that we did lung scans. So typically with a lung scan, you're supposed to get a chest x-ray before the lung scan, because that's going to show the doctor if there's anything chest-wise that would make it not good to do the lung scan piece. And so if there's something else going on, so they should take the chest x-ray before doing the lung scan. Well, they didn't do that at this particular hospital. They always did it afterwards. And so we find out why that's a bad idea for this particular test. And so I have the patient down. I take a look at the ventilation images, and I only seen one lung. I'm like, what did I do wrong? And I'll put some pictures of what a normal ventilation lung scan looks like. And so I looked at that, and I couldn't see the lung. And I was like, so it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. So I called my boss. I'm like, dude, what's going on? Have you ever just seen one lung before? What do you think I screwed up on? He says, no, try it again. You just probably didn't vent them right. So revented them, did it again, same thing. Called him back, still only got one lung. He's like, dude, that's really weird. I'm like, yeah, that is really weird. So he said, well, give him a perfusion and see what happens. 2 lungs show up with the perfusion. So what that's saying is that one lung is not getting any air, but that lung is still getting blood. So what do you guys think? I'll give you a second to think about, what do you think was actually causing that? After they did the chest x-ray, they found out this man had a mucus plug, and they were able to pull that out. But this is the reason why you really need to do a chest x-ray before you do a lung scan. So, but I thought that was really interesting. I actually did a paper on that at one of the regional x-ray or radiology gatherings that we did for stuff, to show people what those pictures look like, and to be on a lookout for what that can look like if you have pictures like these, because it was the first time. I haven't seen very many of them before, and I think the reason why you don't see them before is because people have caught on the fact you need to do that chest x-ray before you do that lung scan. Well, until the next video, take care, be nice to yourselves. We'll talk to you later.